When Haolonggood made its comeback this year, it kicked things off with a ceratopsian, the Nasutoceratops. That was a very promising start, with very nice sculpting and paint apps at a very affordable price. Later on, we had Pentaceratops, a long overdue ceratopsian that seems to have inexplicably been given the short shrift by other companies. And today we have yet a third one, the Pachyrhinosaurus. Incidentally, that makes 7 herbivores in a row. And some collectors are joking that maybe Haolonggood should rename themselves Haolonggood. It's a good sign for dinosaur fandom when I can say that Pachyrhinosaurus needs no introduction. Just like Triceratops. I remember when many years ago, there were only 2 skulls ever found, and there was still debate as to whether it was indeed a rough flattened boss or the base of a huge-ass horn, as you see in this scene. Now this PBS documentary still has the most pleasing animations, and Barbara Feldon's voice doesn't hurt either. Pachyrhinosaurus lakustai has been estimated to be about 5 meters or 16.3 feet long. This model is about 18 centimeters or 7.1 inches, making the scale about 1:28. Now I'll show you the scale between a 1:25 and a 1:30 humanoid. Pachyrhinosaurus means thick-nosed lizard and comes from the Greek pahi for thick, rhino for nose, and sauros for lizard. Now once again, Haolonggood offers 2 color variants. We have the green and the orange. I personally prefer the green. Now let's look at this one. So starting at the head, you can see all the characteristic features of Pachyrhinosaurus. Now this is Pachyrhinosaurus lakustai, and it's nice to see the general features are there. You have the nasal boss, and a very generous one it is. There's some separation between the supraorbital and the nasal bosses. You have the central spikes here, in that triple thread formation that's so popular in paintings and models. And the hooked epiparietals here, the P2 and the P3. There is a rostral comb here, though not with the kind of hooked overhang I'm used to seeing. And I'd say the general integument differentiation, as suggested by Tylowski et al. Is there, with the finer scaly skin here, the larger keratinous scales in this area, and of course these horny coverings. There is of course going to be variability, and I don't see anything egregiously off. Personally, for myself, in animals with more fossils, I'm not too bothered with how closely a model follows the holotype. It's more in animals with just the one fossil that I prefer the models to follow closely, be it anatomical features or size estimates from reputable workers. And of interest are these eyes. You'll notice they have horizontal pupils. Now this is a very interesting look. Extant herbivores like goats and sheep have these, which allow for a wider, more panoramic fields of vision, and this may be helpful in detecting potential predators and other threats. At a general viewing range, you won't see them, but up close, you may or may not like these. They extend from end to end, which is unusual, and a more natural look might have had them shorter. But I very much enjoy the fact that Haolonggood is starting to play around with detail like this. They're not just mass-producing dinosaurs, they're putting thought and creativity into each of their designs. As we look over the model, you'll see another of their strong points. Their color replication, since their Carcharodontosaurus have been sterling with a few exceptions, and here you see that strength on display. Now just look at how these markings are faded into the surrounding skin. And the colors segue so smoothly. The form is very similar to their other ceratopsians, with very thick musculature. Perhaps I might even say over-muscled hind limbs. A quick check of the number of fingers and toes shows the correct 5 to 4. Again, the lateral 2 fingers should be clawless and non-weight bearing. Here you see this isn't the case with this contact. And then down the tail where, surprise surprise, you have that accented tip, Haolonggood's calling card. Now you remember these speculative crocodile scutes in Pentaceratops. Here you do have a thicker presentation of scales or scutes, but they aren't as crocodilian as we saw in the Pentaceratops. Now so much for this guy, now the other color variant. Now this is the orange. I wasn't as enthusiastic about this one, since it's a dark on light motif that we've seen before. Still, taken in itself, the paint application and pattern is very well applied. The markings appear more contrasting than the green, but some may prefer this more in-your-face decoration. Now, just a quick comparison between the two variants to help you make a choice. And as with the other color variants, some colors will bring out detail better than others. If you like something more soothing, you can consider this. And if you like yours more stark, then this is the one to get. Alright, some comparisons. First, we have the PNSO Pachy. Now this was a favorite of mine, and it still is. You can see the size similarity. But the very different aesthetic. The PNSO is rougher, but then it was around 2 years ago. Here in the head, you can have a look at how these two famous bosses are approached, as well as the epiparietals. And of course, this trio of horns. Pose-wise, I think the PNSO is a kind of rough and tough looking for trouble badassery that I prefer. Then we have this old wild safari. And of course, we can't forget Haolonggood's other recent ceratopsians. We have first the Nasutoceratops, and I think you see some definite echoes in the designs, not just the form, but also the patterning. Then the last one, the Pentaceratops, which was a long-awaited dinosaur. I almost forgot, in case you want to compare with the PNSO Triceratops. And finally, the Wilson T-Rex. And that's all for the Haolonggood Pachyrhinosaurus. Such a great current run from Haolonggood, and I'm happy that they've kept up with their quality and down with their prices. It's nice to see Haolonggood try a hand at a more common dinosaur, and being a popular one, you're always held to standards set by previous offerings. I'd say that Haolonggood stands up for itself very nicely indeed. So far, it's Herbivores 7 and Predators 0 for this run. But as long as they keep giving us diverse animals, I'm happy. This is just such an exciting time for dinosaur lovers and model collectors. Haolonggood has kept up their good work, starting with the Nasutoceratops, and you see how high quality they've been. So that's it from me. I don't recall when I've done so many videos in such quick succession. No thanks in part to PNSO and Haolonggood dropping models at the same time and in double doses. And then of course, we had the creator's model Malzino. I'm happy I've cleared the docket, so to speak, and I'm out of here. I'll see you in the next video.